All right, today we're diving into a really cool piece of research with a bit of a mouthful for a title. It's called Statistically Optimized Nano Emulsion Enhances Bone Regeneration Efficiency of Ipriflavone in an Osteoporosis-Induced Zebrafish Model. Whoa, so what does that actually mean? Well, it's all about using some seriously tiny tack to help fight weak bones. And yeah, you heard that right, they're testing it out in zebrafish. Let's break it down.
So let me just start by asking you this. What if the key to fixing brittle bones was hidden inside a teeny tiny drop of oil? I know, it sounds a little bit like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But believe it or not, this exact idea is the driving force behind some seriously groundbreaking research.
But before we get into the cool sciencey stuff, we've got to understand the problem they're trying to tackle, and it's a big one. We're talking about a widespread, often painful disease that impacts millions and millions of people all over the world.
And that disease is osteoporosis. Put simply, it's a condition where your bones start to get weak and porous, kind of like a sponge, from the inside out. The World Health Organization has a fancy term for it, microarchitectural deterioration. That's just a long way of saying that the very framework of your bones starts to crumble, which, as you can imagine, makes them super fragile and way more likely to break.
Now you might be thinking, don't we already have treatments for this? And yeah, we do. But here's the thing. They're far from perfect. Some of the most common drugs out there come with some really nasty risks. We're talking serious complications. And others, a class called SERMs, have been linked to a whole laundry list of other major health problems. So the bottom line is pretty clear. We desperately need safer and better options.
And this is where our story gets interesting. It brings us to a potential new hero, but one with a major flaw.
So let's meet Ipriflavone. On paper, this stuff is amazing. It's derived from plants, it actually helps build new bone, and it has way fewer side effects than the other drugs. Awesome, right? Well, here's the catch, and it's a big one. It's terrible at dissolving in water. So when you try to take it as a pill, your body's metabolism just chews it up and spits it out before it ever has a chance to work. The scientific term for this is low bioavailability, which basically means almost none of the drug actually makes it to where it needs to go. This one fatal flaw makes a fantastic drug, well, pretty much useless. So, what do you do with a hero that has an Achilles heel? Well, you build us some armor. Or in this case, a really tiny getaway car. A microscopic delivery system designed to sneak the drug right past the body's defenses. Okay, so how did they actually build this thing? It's pretty cool. First, they had to pick the right ingredients. They found this specific oil, Migliol A12, was perfect for dissolving the Ipriflavone. Think of it as the base of their recipe. Then, step 2, they used a really smart computer model to figure out the perfect recipe, the exact amounts of oil, surfactants, and other stuff to make it all work. And finally, the really wild part, they blasted the whole mixture with high-powered sound waves. This process, called sonication, shatters it into microscopic, drug-filled oil droplets. The end result? A nano emulsion.
And this is what you get. These are those tiny little spheres, each one a droplet of oil carrying that precious drug. And when I say tiny, I mean it. They're only about 100 nanometers across. So to give you some perspective, that is about 1,000 times smaller than the width of a human hair. Just incredible. This is that nanoscale delivery vehicle we were talking about. Okay, so it's tiny, but does it actually work any better? Well, the data speaks for itself. If you take the pure drug on its own, it only manages to release about 20% of its payload. Not great. But when it's packaged inside this new nano emulsion, that number skyrockets to almost 80%. That is a huge improvement. It means so much more of the drug is actually getting out and becoming available to do its job.
So, getting great results in a lab dish is one thing, right? That's awesome, but it's not the whole story. The real million-dollar question is, can it actually work in a living, breathing creature? Can it really help regenerate bone? Well, it's time to find out.
And for this ultimate test, the researchers turned to our little friends, the zebrafish. Here's how they set it up. They had 3 groups of fish. Group 1 was the healthy control group, nothing wrong with them. Group 2, the induced group, was given a drug to cause osteoporosis. And finally, Group 3, the treated group, also got osteoporosis, but then they were given the new Ipriflavone nano emulsion. To see what was happening, they stained all the fish's bones with the red dye to make everything nice and visible.
All right, this is it, the moment of truth. After all that work, finding the right ingredients, creating the perfect recipe, all the lab tests, it all comes down to this, the visual proof. So,
we have to ask again, did this clever little nano delivery system actually regenerate bone? Did it work?
Just look at this. The proof is literally right here in the bones. So on the left, that's your healthy fish. See that nice, long bone structure? Now look at the fish in the middle. That's the one with osteoporosis. You can see clear as day how much shorter and degraded that bone is. But the real magic is on the right. That's the fish that got the Nano Emulsion treatment. Its bone structure is back. It looks almost identical to the healthy one. It's just a stunning recovery.
And hey, the numbers don't lie. They back this up perfectly. So the healthy bone is about 3.6 millimeters long. Osteoporosis shrinks it all the way down to 2.3 millimeters. But after the treatment, the bone bounces right back to 3.7 millimeters. It's not just better, it's fully regenerated. Incredible.
So, it's pretty clear the experiment was a massive success. But let's zoom out for a second. What does this really mean? What are the bigger implications for the future of medicine?
Well, the really big takeaway is this. Nanotechnology isn't just some cool futuristic buzzword. It's a real tool that can take a promising drug, one that was basically dead in the water because of how our bodies process it, and turn it into a powerhouse treatment. This really does open up a completely new way for us to think about fighting osteoporosis. And that really leaves us with one final and kind of mind-blowing question to chew on. If these little nanocarriers can rescue this drug, just think about it. What other promising medicines, for who knows how many other diseases, are just sitting on a shelf somewhere, considered failures for the exact same reason? What else could we unlock with this same technology? The possibilities really are just incredible.